What's better than a video game? A video game with another video game in it. I'm looking at all those fun mini games that are hidden in other video games. The game Gameception.
Like a taco within a taco?
Favorite mini games? That's kind of a tough one, but let's go old school. Let's go back to the days of the original Mortal Kombat. It's really the first mini game that made an impression on me and that I really remember. Test your might. You'd be fighting guys and going through and like combat to the death, and then every now and then they'd be like, hey, can you karate chop through diamond? Let's find out. And then of course to find out, hey, you just had to hit the button as fast as you could, and then you would let loose a mighty karate chop if you got all the way up to the little line. It was just a little fun thing to break up the monotonous ripping people's heads off and hearts out and stuff like that. Because that gets old after a while, right? And you want to see how it doesn't. But every now and then I also want to know, how is my hand stronger than diamond? Test your might.
I like this one. It was like a secret mini game in Black Ops. It wasn't so secret after a while, but essentially in the opening menu screen, if you pressed on the buttons, you'd be sitting in this chair and you'd start tugging at your restraints. If you kept tugging on them, you'd break out of your restraints and you could free yourself. And then by typing in different codes into this computer, you could unlock different stuff. And one of them was called Dead Ops Arcade. It was a mini game where you were running around and you had it was like a twin stick shooter. So one stick moved you around and the other stick controlled your aiming and shooting and stuff. And it was a lot of fun. It was a fun little arcade game. And I definitely appreciated, in general, I appreciate when people take the time to add those little Easter eggs and things into games. But this one in particular was really fun. You could play with multiple people, and eventually once enough people had unlocked it, they just sort of put it into the game in the multiplayer mode, so you could just hop right into it with some friends if you wanted to do that, instead of your standard, Call of Duty that everyone's sort of getting bored of.
One that I actually forgot all about until I was looking online, and I was like, oh, I remember that happened, was in the first Super Smash Brothers. There was the smash the targets or break the targets. It would be broken up into 3 sections. Like the fight, you gotta break the target, you fight, you gotta race, and then you fight and you have a harder break the target. Those break the targets were actually really difficult with some of the characters because it not only took some actual thinking, all right, how do I get to that one right before I die? But what moves and how you actually controlled the character was very essential. Like with Yoshi, you had to roll off with the egg and then double jump and then throw your up and B to get him. So it was fun, it was cool, and I'm actually surprised they didn't keep that in future Smash Brothers titles. So Nintendo with the Wii U one, I think we should have it back. I think people liked it. I think you guys agree. It was fun, it was simple, it was cool. It kind of broke up all the smashing Mario's head in with a baseball bat. And that sounds a lot more violent than the game actually is. Think about that. You can take a bat and just smash it into Mario's giant nose. God, I love that game.
And of course, one of my favorite games of all time, before the writing got super terrible, Final Fantasy VII. I feel like in 8 and on, the writing is just gradually declines, and then in 13 becomes so laughably ridiculous that it's not even worth playing. But anyway, back in Final Fantasy VII, you could go to this arcade where they had this kind of mini sub game, kind of based on a sub you actually get to drive around in one part when you go and looking for Emerald Weapon or whatever reason you had for being underwater. The game had you all over the place. But you play this sub hunt game where you're in the sub trying to blow up enemies, and it's all 3D and kind of cool, and it's a nice little diversion because Sephiroth's trying to summon Meteora or whatever and blow up the whole planet, and you're like, just gotta take a break from this, get my head in the right space, and hunt some subs. And that's what I did. So yeah, the sub hunt game from Final Fantasy VII.
Now my next favorite, this is sort of a series of mini games, so it's kind of a cheat on my part because I didn't pick one, but System Shock 2 had some excellent mini games. So throughout the game, when you're traveling through, you'd eventually find this thing called the Game Pig. And it was this little PDA system. And if you ever played System Shock 2, it was one of, honestly, probably still, honestly, one of the most frightening games of all time. But the Game Pig was a nice little break because you could pull it up at any point. I think probably as long as you weren't being attacked. I don't remember if you could pull it up if you were being attacked. You could pull the game up, and you could play little mini games on them. And there was like a Frogger type game. There's this RPG game you could play. And the cool thing was you had to kind of find the game discs around the environment. So you'd be searching for health and stuff. You'd be like, ooh, a game disc that I can put into my Game Pig and play. And you could even hack the Game Pig and make games easier or do different things to them. So yeah, it was a lot of fun. And another one of those things where just the developer taking time to add something in That was a little, you know, a little gimmicky, but also really cool.
Now, a minigame that not a lot of people really still talk about these days, but Triple Triad from Final Fantasy VIII. I loved a lot in the first half of the game, and I'll explain why in a few moments, but Triple Triad, how it works is you have 9 squares, and you have playing cards based on some of the characters, based on the summons you can use, or just normal other enemies. And you had like the 4 points, like the 4 corners of the card, each had like a strength or a minus, and so depending on where you placed it on the grid, like it would take over one of the other ones. So if this guy had like an 8 here, and I put a 9 here, and my 9 beats his 8, this card now flips as mine, and I use his attributes as mine. Confusing? Yes, it really took me a while to figure out, but afterwards, it was such a cool game, and I started trying to play like with my magic cards, like, all right, well, this has this and this and this, maybe we can, no, this doesn't work, but it would have been a cool game to have. But in the second half of the game, you couldn't actually pick what cards you brought into the battle, and then if you lost, because the computer would just have better cards, if you lost, they gotta take one of your cards. So it's like, oh man, here's my hand. I don't have my Ifrit card, that's good. But then you lose, and then they get to go through all of your cards, like, ooh, I'm taking Ifrit. Then you're like, fuck, that was my best card. How do I get back in there and, you know, win my card back? I didn't win my cards back, I lost all my cards. That actually has nothing to do with why I'm single or if I am single. It just, the game made me really angry. So, screw you, Final Fantasy VIII. But thank you. Hey guys, thanks for watching Why We're Single. Actually, one of my favorite shows on this channel to film. Big announcement. Are you ready for a giant announcement? As most of you may know, that at the end of this month, in fact, on September 26th, SMOSH Games is celebrating 1 year on the interwebs. Like, we've been doing this for 1 year now, and we owe that all to you. So, on the 27th, which is a Friday, myself, Sohinky, and Lasercorn are going to do a top 5 funniest moments of SMOSH Games in the first year, but it's based off of your guys' opinion. So what we're going to do right now is, on Twitter, I need you to send us on Twitter using the hashtag SMOSHGamesFunny. SMOSHGamesFunny. Hashtag SMOSHGamesFunny. And the funniest moment that you could ever, like, that you remember from, whether it was the wax job when I was getting waxed, or maybe it was a game bang punishment, or any moment. It could be backseat gaming, it could have been dope or nope, it could have been boss fight of the week. Any moment you thought was the funniest, send them to us. We're gonna see the most popular ones, and then we're gonna put together a poll that we'll put on smosh.com, where you guys will then be able to vote for the top 5 funniest moments in the last year of SMOSH Games. So it's just like a giant thank you to you guys for making all of this so possible, and just giving us the opportunity for the craziest shenanigans we've ever had here. Like, me and Lasercorn got in a boxing fight through the office with soccer boppers because of you guys. So thank you. And even more of an announcement, there will still be one more surprise for you guys that all of us are gonna do. Like, the entire group, all 6 of us, Ian, Anthony, Mari, and the 3 of us are gonna do something very special to thank you guys for this 1 year, and you'll probably see that on the bonus video after the 26th. I believe that will be the 29th. So again, thanks for watching. Send on Twitter, hashtag SMOSHGamesFunny, your favorite moments. We'll see you later.